Welcome to Planting Seeds with a Partnership. This is your host, Kayla Grigsby, and today I am super honored to have a representative from DPS that is, I've seen some things online. I don't know if she's known that I've looked her up, and I was able to just find out a little bit more about her, and I'm excited for you all to listen to her and hear her expertise. But I am talking with Miss Suzanne Cotterman, and she is a director with DPS in early education. So, Miss Suzanne, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, please tell our audience what does it mean to be director of early education for DPS, and what is that like? You know, what got you interested in this specific career path?
Sure. So at DPS, early education is for students who are ages 3 through 5. And what we do is we provide safe and high quality and developmentally appropriate instruction. That includes students with disabilities, students that have academic risks, students who don't have any risk at all, whose parents just want their child to attend a high quality preschool. I have a team of experts. I certainly can't do it all by myself. They collaborate daily with the staff in schools to make sure that our kids are getting a great experience. One of the things that we do that's super important is we welcome new students into Durham Public Schools. We build relationships with the families, and we help them navigate the school system and advocate for their children. Well, I guess the reason why I do this work is because the research is really clear. Early education works. It sets a child up for a successful school career up until they graduate, and then once they're out in the world, the skills they learn in early education stay with them forever. And then just personally, there's a special joy in seeing the growth that a student makes in that short window when they're in a preschool experience. Young learners, they're just like sponges. They soak everything up around them, and they're really curious and excited about learning. Our students learn through play, and they learn how to be a learner, which is really important. And they show a true love for learning. So even the reluctant learners make major progress really quickly, and they're really grateful to be with friends and just learning.
That's awesome, and I think that that's really good information to help parents understand how we're connecting the dots here. So at the partnership, we house, early Head Start and pre-K. And so this is prior to 5 years old. And then effectively at some point, kids are funneling into DPS. And so we want to make sure that the handoff is seamless, right?
Correct.
And I just think that's an amazing description of, what people need to know and what to expect. So I know that our organizations collaborate together for Transition to Kindergarten Initiative, which is to make sure that students are set up for success before they enter into your system. And so how does DPS support the initiative, the Transition to Kindergarten Initiative?
Well, we are really grateful that we get great collaboration from your organization as well as other community agencies. One of the things we do to support is we do a lot of presentations at community events. For example, Book Harvest. Some of our child care centers will ask us to speak, and we talk to parents about the importance of transitioning to kindergarten and how to make that transition successful for their children. We support our schools in doing open houses so that parents can come in and meet the teachers, see the school, and make those connections, build those relationships. We also, this year, because of COVID, we had a call center for parents.
Wow.
Where they could call in. Our registration and enrollment has gone completely online, and some parents need support with that process. And so certainly we want to make sure that we're there to support them. I do want to mention we are going to do an enrollment week, which is going to be July 12th through 15th, where all of our schools will be participating and open for families that need support with enrollment. And so they can go to the school. There'll be someone there who can help them upload their documents or walk them through the enrollment process, because we know that getting children enrolled early is really important. We also have done Facebook Lives. We've made some videos for families this year. We've worked on some toolkits for schools so they can support support their families. It's all about helping our students make a smooth transition and supporting the families along that process.
Absolutely. And I've seen a few of those videos and actually put them on our website in order to help families have a tool to understand that DPS is providing these resources for them. So thank you guys for, providing those. Um, and also for the enrollment week, that's really exciting news, that parents get a whole week of support. So I urge the listeners to take advantage of that. Make sure that they partake in that if you have a transitioning kindergartner. So from your seat, what do you feel like is most impactful about the Transition to Kindergarten initiative, and how do these events really aid families?
So hands down, it's important for families to get connected with their schools early. And the reason why that's important is because there are lots of events that I know your organization partners with us to put on for families. For example, popsicles on the playground, where families can come in, they can meet the teachers, they can meet other friends that are going to be in the same school. And you are not connected with that school unless you have already enrolled and taken part in some of these events. So, and then the other big piece is, we want our students there on day one. We want them to have the maximum amount of instructional time that they can possibly have to make them as successful as possible. And, if you're not connected early enough, if you don't know about all of these things, then you might not possibly be there on day one, and you're going to be missing valuable instructional time. So we really want our families to make those connections early so that they have access to all the wonderful things that your agency and other agencies in the community and Durham Public Schools are doing.
Awesome. And what do you find from maybe parental feedback is most important information for parents to know going into the school year?
Well, I think first and foremost, how to enroll their child, and what documents they need to have to do that. First and foremost, they will need their child's birth certificate and proof of domicile, which simply means something that shows where you live. For example, a mortgage statement or a lease, or something with your address like a permanent bill. And so that's an important process, and all that information can be found. Again, registration week, or you certainly can go online. It's connected to our website. Also, who to contact when you need information. How do you know where to go? We're a big school system. We know there's lots of different people that you can contact, but all of that information is available on our website, and we have targeted people listed there that you can call for information. Also, how to get your child ready to transition. I know that you are sending your babies to us, and for some families, it's the first time they've interacted with the school system. And again, we are a large system. Most of the time, parents are more anxious than the kids are, but we want to help you work through that anxiety and know that your children are coming to us and they'll be safe and happy and have a really great time. And then the last piece is really being involved in your school community. How can you do that? There are so many different ways that a parent can interact, whether it's through the PTA or PTO, just volunteering in your school, or even just being one of those people where the teacher, communicates with you that they need something cut out and you do that in your spare time. I mean, there's lots of ways to interact with your school and your community, and we want to help you know what those are.
Awesome. And I think that's really important. You touched on a really important point, and I'm a very sentimental person, so I love when organizations and companies, and not that you're a company, but they really take heed to who they're serving. And with serving families, you understand that parents are reluctant to send their babies off into the world. And so to have a heart for people to know that, we got you, we're setting up resources in place, I think that should be really comforting for families that are transitioning their children. So kudos to you all for that. That's amazing. And I know you already touched on having a call center set up for COVID, but COVID has changed a lot of things for us. So is there anything else that during the Transition to Kindergarten initiative, and what do you expect to see during the fall with this kind of new transitioning coming out of quarantine?
Sure. Well, of course, we had to make a really quick pivot, just like families, and make everything virtual. Making things virtual makes it harder to build those relationships for children with their teachers, with the schools. And so we had to work really hard at building those relationships. Also, we don't have actual classroom data for a lot of our children because they've never been in a classroom. So
Right.
we're going to have some kids that come to us that have never stepped foot in the school that they've been quote unquote attending for a year. And so we're ready for that. We're ready to help them make that transition. We couldn't have any large events. We couldn't use a lot of the things that we normally do. For example, we normally have a large event for our incoming kindergartners at the Museum of Science in Durham, but we couldn't do that this year. So we had to use social media more and make videos and do those kinds of things to help our families, be connected. We expect to see a real variation in skills. We know students are going to need some extra time for transition. We know they're going to need some time to acclimate from, learning at home on a computer to being face-to-face in a classroom. But I'm really hopeful that families already feel connected and will feel more connected, valued, and know that we have your children's safety in mind. We have lots of health and safety protocols in place, and we feel like we can do this right, and we can make your babies enjoy their school careers. So, I want families to feel comfortable that we know, that COVID's real. We have put things in place and we've been very vigilant with that. But along with that, we're also making sure that kids are getting the experiences that they deserve.
Awesome. And I know you just mentioned enjoying, their kids enjoying their environment, but my question is for you. And how do you enjoy your environment? What's your favorite part of your job?
Well, hands down, it's visiting the classrooms. There's nothing like walking into a classroom of kindergartners or
Mm-hmm.
preschoolers, and they love everyone. They come in, they hug you. They're just excited to be there and happy. But also, I work with a wonderful team of people. We collaborate with almost every other department in
Mm-hmm.
Durham Public Schools, and we are all here for the children, and I think that's number one, that the kids are first and foremost, and then knowing that we're giving students a good foundation and getting them ready for kindergarten so that when they come in, they're confident, they feel like they can succeed, their self-esteem is raised, and that we have high expectations for them so that they are going to be successful, and then
Mm-hmm.
putting things in place to help them meet those goals.
One thing that I find amazing is that no matter how many people I interview or speak with in the early childhood education realm, they always say the same thing when I ask them that question, and that's visiting the children. So that's amazing, that you can work in different areas, and that can still be the one common denominator. So lastly, before we go, and this was a really great interview. I know I benefited from a lot of good information, and I pray that the listeners do as well. But what is your favorite quote or any thoughts that you want to leave us with before we go?
Sure. So, I guess I would say that parents are always anxious about transition. And again, usually the children are much less anxious and they're excited. They're eager to learn, and they'll learn much more than just reading and writing and math from their teachers and peers. They'll learn how to be a friend. They'll learn how to problem solve and how to advocate for themselves. They'll learn empathy. They'll learn consideration. They'll learn how to collaborate. All of the skills that are life skills, and they'll maintain those skills and carry them throughout their school careers and into adulthood. That's a gift that we can give children, and it's a gift like no other. It's a gift that will just grow and change and really help them to become functional, caring, wonderful adults, and that's the goal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what drives us every day. And we know parents are doing their best job at home, and we want to partner with you to help you in that area, and make sure that you're giving your child the love at home, we're giving your child the love at school, and we're working together as a team.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. And of course, it's so befitting with the show, right? So we're planting seeds here, and you all are planting seeds of love, education, all of the things that these children need to be successful in the future. And so, thank you so much, Ms. Cotterman, for just taking the time out to give us this information. I just appreciate you coming on here and sharing your words of wisdom and dropping some nuggets for us to digest over the summertime to make sure that we are signing our children up for kindergarten at DPS. So thank
Well,
you.
and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate every minute that I get to share with parents and with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Planting Seeds with the Partnership. If you have any questions about any of the programs that we spoke about today, please visit www.dpfc.net. Also, if you have any suggestions for podcast ideas, any feedback, comment down on this video below, and we would love to interact with you. Thank you and have a great one.